The thumb, the feature that changed everything. Doctors can transplant your big toe onto your hand to replace a lost thumb. And that's considered a success, because a toe where your thumb was is still more functional than no thumb at all. That's how critical that one digit is. Lose it, and surgeons grab your foot. Now look at yours. Is your thumb long or short relative to your index finger? Long thumb means precision grip, holding a pen, carving a spear tip, threading a needle. Your ancestors with long thumbs made better tools, ate better, survived longer. Society sees a thumb. Biology sees the reason humans won. Short thumb wins on lock grip stability. Less range, more anchoring force. One built the tools. One held on when everything went wrong. Either way, you're here because that thumb worked when it mattered most. The craftsman's hand. 500,000 years ago, something shifted that changed everything. Humans started making tools with multiple components, a spear tip attached to a shaft, a blade bound to a handle. Suddenly, fine motor control wasn't just useful, it was the difference between eating and starving. Are your fingers long and narrow, visibly longer than your palm? That's the craftsman's hand. Your nervous system maps more brain space to your fingers than almost any other body part. More nerve endings, more sensory feedback, more precision per movement. The groups with craftsman's hands built better weapons, better shelters, better everything. The groups without them fell behind and disappeared. And if your fingers bend backward past flat, that's not weird. That's the craftsman's hand with an extra edge. Hypermobile joints conform to irregular surfaces. Tree bark, rock faces, uneven handholds. Your ancestors weren't just crafting spears. They were climbing to find food while everyone else waited below. Society looks at long, slender fingers and sees elegance. Biology looks at them and sees the hand that started the first production line in human history. If detailed work has always come naturally to you, that's not personality. That's 500,000 years of selection pressure showing up in your fingers. The hunter's hand. Your grip is either surprising people or it should be. Are your fingers short and wide, with a palm that dominates your hand? That's the hunter's hand. Society looks at it and sees nothing special. Biology looks at it and sees the grip that kept bloodlines alive. Wide fingers increase contact surface on large objects. The grip doesn't wrap around something, it locks on. Shorter finger bones flex less under load. More force reaches the object directly. Less energy lost bending the finger itself. Early humans needed to grip spear shafts that couldn't fly loose, climb rock faces others slid off, haul weight back to camp when everyone else dropped theirs. Your ancestors with this hand did the work that required holding on when letting go meant dying. That's not a small thing. Every person alive today had at least one ancestor who didn't let go. The warrior's hand. This hand didn't build civilization. It protected the people who did. Place your hand flat. Is your palm roughly as wide as it is long, with fingers clearly shorter than the palm itself? That's the warrior's hand. Not built for precision or endurance, built for immediate explosive force. Square palms generate more rotational power through the wrist. Short fingers create a mechanical advantage under maximum compression. Your ancestors with this hand weren't crafting tools or running down prey for hours. They were the ones who ended confrontations fast, the defenders, the ones groups relied on when something needed to be stopped right now. Society looks at a square hand and sees ordinary. Biology looks at it and sees the hand that protected entire bloodlines long enough for them to survive. Without the warrior's hand, the craftsman never lived long enough to build anything. The navigator's hand. Most people look at their hand and think they don't fit any category. Large palm and long fingers at the same time. Too wide to be a craftsman, too reaching to be a hunter. That's not a compromise. That's the most powerful hand in this entire video. 70,000 years ago, humans left Africa for the first time. They walked into deserts, coastlines, forests, mountains, and frozen tundra. The specialists struggled. The craftsman's hand excelled in stable conditions. The hunter's hand dominated familiar terrain. But new environments demanded everything at once: strength and precision, force and reach. The navigator's hand delivered all of it. Large palm means raw grip power at the base. Long fingers mean reach and control at the tips. Your ancestors could haul weight and thread a needle, build a shelter, and carve the tools to do it. When the craftsman's task disappeared and the hunter's terrain changed, the navigator's hand kept working. Society calls this hand average. Biology calls it the hand that populated the entire world when specialists couldn't follow. The left-hand wildcard. Evolution should have eliminated left-handedness. It didn't. And the reason is more calculated than most people realize. 10% of humans are left-handed. That number has stayed identical across every culture and thousands of years of human history. In physical confrontations, left-handed fighters held a statistical edge. Most opponents trained against right-handed attackers their entire lives. A left-handed strike came from an unexpected angle. Reaction time dropped. The lefty landed hits others didn't. Research on traditional societies found left-handed men won more physical confrontations, not because they were stronger, because they were unexpected. Evolution kept left-handedness at exactly the frequency where the surprise advantage held. Too common and opponents adapt. Too rare and the trait disappears. 10% was the equilibrium that worked for thousands of generations. Society looks at the left hand and sees the wrong hand. Biology looks at it and sees the hand that won by being the one nobody saw coming. 2D to 4D ratio. Hormones written into bone. Your skeleton has been storing a secret since before you were born. Look at your right hand. Is your ring finger longer than your index finger? Between weeks 7 and 14 in the womb, testosterone floods the developing body. Higher prenatal testosterone correlates with a longer ring finger. Lower exposure, the opposite. Studies found correlations with athletic performance, spatial awareness, and risk tolerance. But here's the evolutionary layer most people miss. Higher testosterone exposure produced individuals who took risks, pushed boundaries, and made aggressive decisions under pressure. In a world where hunting was dangerous and defending territory was deadly, groups needed some of their members to be exactly that. Not everyone, just enough. The ones with the longer ring finger were statistically more likely to be those members. This is correlation, not destiny. But your finger ratio is a biological marker of your hormonal environment before you even had a functioning brain. You've been carrying that record on your hand every single day without knowing it, and you'll never look at your hand the same way again. What your hands are actually saying. Every hand you looked at today was a solution to a problem your ancestors faced and solved. The craftsman's hand that started the first production line in human history. The hunter's hand that held on when letting go meant dying. The warrior's hand that protected entire bloodlines long enough for them to survive. The navigator's hand that populated the entire world when specialists couldn't follow. The left hand that won by being the one nobody saw coming. The hormone blueprint locked into your ring finger before you took your first breath. You didn't choose any of it. It was written into you by every person in your bloodline who survived long enough to pass it down. Most people go their entire lives without knowing what their hands are actually saying. Now you do? Look at them differently, because they were built for something. And whatever that something was, it worked.